eBay will do that every once in a while. You'll think that you have something nice and listed and waiting to be bought, and it's no longer on there. Hi guys, it's Misty, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Misty, and I am a reseller on eBay, and I also own a brick and mortar antique store, and I sell some things online as well. This video is my weekly what sold on eBay for the week of March 23rd through 29th, 2020. My sales were down this week than what they were last week, but I had a decent week last week. But the world has changed a little bit from last week to this week, with a lot of people, unfortunately, being laid off and furloughed. And so I knew that it was going to change sales a little bit. It hasn't changed it drastically, but my sales were still down, and I was expecting that. So this video is just going to show some of the things that are selling for me. A lot of the things that I'm selling have been lower dollar items, but they do add up. And it's one way for me to get rid of some old stock and some old inventory that I've had for a very long time and send it off to a new home. I am a long tail seller, so I am okay with holding on to items for a while until they sell. However, I am going to be moving my items from my home office to my brick and mortar store. So I will be cleaning out some things that I have had for a long time, and also going through and finding some inventory that has fallen off of eBay, because eBay will do that every once in a while. You'll think that you have something nice and listed and waiting to be bought, and it's no longer on there. So it's always a good idea. Don't be like me. Go through your inventory at least once a year and kind of filter through and make sure that things are still listed on eBay. So let's go ahead and I will show you some things that have sold for me this past week on eBay. In the Sellers Hub, and as you can see right here, my sales for the week, my total sales were $817.82. My sales were down 30%. And again, I've said this before, you can click on, this is every day starting on the 23rd and ending on the 29th. So it's a Monday through a Sunday. And you can see what your net sales were for each day. So you can see here it's telling you your total sales and what your selling costs were, and then what your net sales were per day. And you can see my sales are pretty consistent throughout the week. All right, so let's go ahead and see what has sold. This was something that I picked up at an estate sale in a box full of other things. It's a vintage Halloween creation cone dome, outer space head, topstone latex, one size fits all. This was kind of a knockoff of the cone heads. Y'all remember the cone heads from Saturday Night Live? Well, these were cone domes. It was a Halloween costume. It was still in the package. The package did have, it did have some issues. There was a little stain right there on it, and there was an area where the plastic was, coming off a little bit. But I did make sure that I noted that in the listing. But this sold for $7.12 on a 25% off sale, and I did free shipping. The next item is a set of vintage New Orleans, Louisiana Jackson Square collector's drink coasters. I picked these up at Goodwill for 99 cents. I've had these for a while. They sold for $9.56, and I did do free shipping, and both of these items did ship first class, so they were under $3 to ship them out. The next item is these vintage Disneyland Mark Twain and Columbia porcelain salt and pepper shakers, made in Japan. You can see they were from Disneyland. They were in great condition. They did have the plastic stoppers in them, made by Walt Disney Productions, and these sold for $11.99 on a 25% off sale. I did do free shipping on these. They did ship first class. The next item is a Harley Davidson men's maroon t-shirt from Cool Springs, Franklin, Tennessee. It was a size extra large. I threw this up. I'm trying to get rid of a lot of clothing like this. Harley Davidson is very saturated for me right now, and it isn't that cool of a graphic or color really necessarily. It is an extra large, so it did have that going for it, and it sold for $6 on an auction, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is vintage ceramic tomato salt and pepper shakers, Japan mid-century modern. I try to use a lot of different keywords in there. These did not have the stoppers in them, and they were made sort of the paper mache-esque material. They sold on a 25% off sale for $7.49, and the buyer paid shipping. A lot of low dollar items have sold, but that's okay because I'm getting them out of my house. Also, Dr. Dennis Gross Lotion. This is a self-tanner lotion. I've been selling these about once a week I did buy them in a case of them at a yard sale. I think I paid $15 to $18. I can't remember. It was a year ago that I bought these, and they're selling for about $12 a piece with free shipping. So I made my money back on them. I think I only have a couple of them left. The next item is a little travel wallet from CauseBox. CauseBox was a subscription, that box that I did get. I've canceled it. It sold for $12.38, and I did do free shipping. It shipped first class. All right, now we have this Flick Back Headline News Challenge Puzzle. It's 500 piece from the 80s. It was brand new, sealed. I picked this up at Goodwill for 99 cents, and it sold for $12.38, and the buyer paid shipping. These were another pair. This was another clothing item that I put up as an auction. Trying to get rid of this stuff. I was actually going to donate it, and I thought I'll just go ahead and put it up at an auction and see if I can at least get a little bit of money out of it. Sold for $6. I did pick these up at the bins, so I did make, you know, a little bit of money on them, not a lot, but the buyer did pay shipping. Oh, and they're 7 for all mankind, and I am not buying these any longer. Then we have a Disney Infinity lot. This is Elsa and Anna Frozen figures with the 2 power discs, and we've got a bunch of these from a yard sale last summer. We've slowly been listing them, and this one sold for $12.73. I do believe we took a best offer. I think we had these listed for $15 or $16, and the buyer paid $4.50 shipping. The next item is a vintage Auburn Rubber Company car from the 1950s. It's just a classic yellow. It had 574, I believe, on the license plate. 574 is right there on the license plate. So I did put that in the title. You know, there's a collector's market for these cars, and this one sold for $10.25, and the buyer paid shipping. All right, the next thing is another Disney Infinity lot. This one is the game portal and the base. I think this is like a starter set for this, and this one sold for $14.73. It did ship first class, and it was free shipping. All right, another set of cards. Dad bought a bunch of cards from a flea market, and I've slowly been selling them. I think he paid $15 for the entire box, and I've been selling them each lot for about that or more. And this set was the vintage Walt Disney World playing cards. It was souvenir deck. The nice thing about these cards, though, is that they were both still sealed. So if they weren't sealed, they probably wouldn't be worth much of anything, but they had the original price tags on them, and they were still sealed in the plastic. The next item is a vintage nude girl, naked woman, metal bottle opener. We had this in the shop for a little while, and it was something that I just took home one day and decided I was going to go ahead and list it. It was from Hinton's Brake Service. So on the other side here, it was an advertisement piece. This did sell pretty quickly for $11.62, and with 25% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. Another lot of cards. This is a vintage lot of 3 decks from Delta Airlines and the Royal Jet Service. This was a second lot of these cards that I had, and they'd sold for $15.99, and the buyer paid shipping. All right, the next thing is a Whitman 1956 vintage children's book lot. This was Frisker's and Willie Woo 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 fire truck. And these books I've had for a little while. These Whitman books, and you can see down here, let me zoom in on here. Down here, it'll say Whitman. Even though these are still in rough shape, there is a huge collector's market for these vintage books. A lot of times people like to use them in displays in their home if they have a vintage home style decor. Sometimes people just specifically collect these Whitman books. So if you see these and you can get them for a good price, always pick them up. And they're small little books. You can see here, they're only 6 inches wide. So they're small little books. The graphics on the inside are amazing. Let me see if I can find, I mean, yeah, it's just great graphics in these, so they're pretty collectible. You can see this one wasn't in the best of shape, but this lot of 2 sold for $16.50, and the buyer paid media mail shipping. All right, then we have a New York City subway jigsaw puzzle from 1977, brand new, sealed. I think I want to say I paid $1.99 for this at Goodwill, and it sold for $19.88 on a 25% off sale. This is another one that got through. I was, you know, had tried free shipping for a while, and I thought I had taken them off on these bigger things, but this one got by me. So I still made a little bit of money, but unfortunately, I did have to ship it out and pay for the shipping on this. All right, the next item is a Disney Winnie the Pooh Honeypot. Time for Something Sweet was the name of this figurine. This was a set of figurines that I believe I picked up from an auction that were left over. Nobody wanted them, and so I scooped them up. I've tried selling them for a while, but hey, it was free inventory, and it sold for $15.38, and with a 25% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. These next little cute guys are these vintage made in Japan salt and pepper shakers. They're cows or bowls or whatever they are, but they're super cute. Very mid-century looking. They still had their original stoppers in them, and they sold for $14.96 on a 25% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. Okay, these are always a surprising sale to me that people are still buying these old GPS units, but they are. This one is a portable handheld outdoor GPS. This was actually ours from way back in the day. We had it in a drawer, and my husband decided to go ahead and list it. We used to go geocaching a lot, and so this was what we had used when we went geocaching. The one thing that I do want to say, if you have these kinds of electronics and you can show in the picture that it is still working, I highly recommend that you do that. You can see here he turned it on, and you can see that the screen does work still. We also pick up at the bins a lot are the old GPS that people use in their car. They still sell. Not for a lot, but I mean, if you get them from the bins, you know, and you're paying $1 or so for them, and they have the cord, they still do sell. I know that we can't go actively looking for these right now, but in the future, if you're out at the bins and you see these and you can get them for really cheap at a yard sale or a flea market, then you might want to pick them up because they usually sell anywhere between $15 and $25. All right, the next item is a vintage Sport Goofy Aladdin 1983 Walt Disney tin metal lunchbox. This did not have the thermos, but it has cute little Goofy on there, Goofy Sport. And it was very colorful, very bright colors, and it sold on a 25% off sale for $16.88, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is a vintage Libby Belair Rocks glasses, and these are always called the Rocks glasses because you can drink whiskey on the rocks or whatever on the rocks you want to drink. These were number 204. They were the Daisies Flowers print, and I put retro, new old stock box. These are still in the original box, and they sold for $19.20 with a 25% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is FitFlop Women's Dusty Pink Rubber Flip-Flop thong toning sandals. I probably should have put comfort shoe in the title. That's usually a pretty good keyword. These I picked up for $4.50 at Goodwill and sold them for $18.50, and the buyer paid shipping. Okay, the next item are these antique green glass cabinet drawer pulls. They were reclaimed. They had the 6-point. You can see there what I mean by the 6-point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're 6 size, so that's why I said 6-point. And these were a lot of 4. And I put farmhouse in the title. I think that is a keyword that people are using when they're doing reclaimed furniture pieces. Sometimes they might put in farmhouse decor, and this would show up. And these sold on a 25% off sale for $20.24, and the buyer paid shipping. Another thing that's surprisingly still sells, but they do, is this Rolodex. It's a rotary card file. This one was brand new in the box. I picked it up at Goodwill. I want to say I paid $2.99 for it. Had it for a little while, but it did sell for $17.06 and on a 25% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. These next guys are vintage lusterware from the 1930s. These little porcelain tuxedo boys. I put groom, top hat, figural, and napkin ring holders. You can see here, you put your little napkin in there, and they will set on your place setting. Unfortunately, there were only 2 of them, but the colors on them were really good, very spring and Easter, and I did sell them on a 25% off sale for $12.38, and the buyer paid shipping. Okay, I had 2 of these, so I sold one last week and I sold one this week, and probably because people are bored. But it was this Caron Pony Horse Latch Hook Kit, a 10x10 hanging rug, sold for $9, and the buyer did pay shipping, but it was $9 on a 25% off sale. I've had these for probably 2 years, so I'm glad to see them go. This next item I did put up as an auction because it's something that I had for a long time, and I'm going to try that again this week too. I'm going to put some of my older pieces that I've had that I'm just kind of ready to get rid of. I'm going to try them at an auction and see how they do. With an auction, you should always start your item out at what you are willing to take for it, just in case it doesn't get, or just gets one bid. Because just because you're running an auction doesn't mean that it's going to get bid up. Sometimes you just will get one bid. I think I started this at $6 or $7, and I had 12 bids on it, and it only got up to $13.60. So make sure that you are listing it, you're starting the bid at a price that you're okay selling it for. And I always charge shipping when it's an auction. I just always do. And the buyer did pay shipping on this. The next item is a vintage strawberry shortcake anchor hawking milk glass mug. And this sold for $16.50 and the buyer paid shipping. I always pick these up. They always sell pretty fast for me and they always do pretty well. These character milk glass anchor hawking mugs. The next item, I like to call this the little children of the world singing. It was just Vintage World Gift Japan 1960s. It's a small world singing figurines. They had World Gift on them, and I couldn't find a lot of comps on these, so I just kind of threw a number out there. I started them at $27.50 and I ended up putting them on a 25% off sale. They sold for $20.62 and the buyer paid shipping. Pretty cute though. And they were flawless. They were just adorable little figurines. And sold them a couple weeks. They sold within a couple weeks. The next item is this Adidas Originals Women's NMD reversible trefoil logo sweatshirt top made from neoprene. It was like a scuba material. Picked this up at Goodwill for $4.50 and it sold for $28.88 on a 25% off sale and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is a Fleet Guard fuel water separator, and it sold for $37.50 plus shipping. I like to find stuff like this. Anything that's automotive, that's new in the box, or lawnmower related, or tractor related, that's brand new in the box. People are looking for these because they can get them cheaper on eBay than they can ordering from the company. And when you find things at the thrift store that are still wrapped up in plastic, it's always a good idea to look them up. All of your information is given to you right there. So all you have to do is type in an eBay search, look up sold comps, and then it'll tell you if it's worth picking up or not. The next item is one of these really cool little antique Quack medical electrical device. It was new medical home apparatus. You can see here, I had a lot of information on it because it had a lot of information in it. And I don't know what this was used for. It was just like an old Quack snake oil salesman device that probably they said that it could cure a headache or any kind of ailment. But there is a collector's market for these. People do like this oddball medical things. And it sold for $37.12 on a 25% off sale and the buyer paid shipping. The next item, this was a good buy. I picked these up at Goodwill for 99 cents each. So they were each 99 cents. And they are these Pooh and Friends Disney Nursery Birthday Keepsake Porcelain Ceramic 10 figure lot. So the 10 figures, it cost me $10 when I picked these up, and I sold them for $37.69 on a 25% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item, or the last item that I sold last week, was this vintage haul Corky the Pig art pottery piggy bank. It was from 1957, and I just added some adjectives: pink, blue with cork, mid-century modern, retro. But look at that face. He's so cute, and he had his original little cork nose. He did have a little bit of chipping on his ear, which I did note in the listing, but he was just a handsome little pig. And these are very quirky and kitschy, and people love them. I myself love them. You can see there it was marked Corky Pig USA, and it sold for $39.38 on a 25% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. All right, so not a whole lot of high dollar items, not really any really high dollar items, but you know, the little items do add up, and it's a way of keeping your store active. So I always like to keep some higher dollar items as well as some lower dollar items in my store. I do buy a lot of things at auctions, and I will get things at thrift stores for a very, very, very low cost of goods. I typically don't pay more than $8 an item for things that I sell. So I keep my cost of goods very low, so I'm able to play with having some lower dollar items to my store to add some traffic, and as well as maybe some multiple orders being shipped to the same customer. And if you don't do that, there's a little thing that you can add to where you can give your customers a percentage off if they order more than one thing. It's kind of at the very, very bottom after you do shipping. There's a little boxes that you can click, and you can decide what percentage off you want to give your customers. You don't have to do that, but it is a way to kind of entice your customers to maybe add a few more things to their purchase, and you can ship it all at once, and you can save a little, or they can save a little bit on shipping. All right, so my numbers for this past week. My total sales, now this is not counting my sales tax and my fees and all that kind of stuff. My total sales were $817.82. My sales were down 30.7%, which isn't the greatest, but it's been worse than that. So I'm you know, appreciative for the sales that I have gotten. And I haven't been listing like I was the week prior. I've been keeping really busy with my live YouTube sales. So that's kind of taken a little bit more time for me than sitting down and listing, because I have these sales and it takes me really the entire next day to get things shipped out and ready for the customers that have bought from me on YouTube. But this video is purely simply giving you an idea of what things are selling right now for me on eBay. And maybe you can, if you've got some of those things, you can tweak the listings. I do this on a nightly basis. I'll go through and I will click on the little button in the filter area on my mobile device and look for ending latest. And if it's, you know, something that I've had for a while, I'll tweak the title a little bit. I'll brighten up the pictures a little bit. I'll change it in some way, shape, or form. So I end it and then I do a sell similar, and it just refreshes it in the algorithm. And I have made quite a few sales from that. Another idea that you can do as far as marketing your eBay store, if you're really wanting to get some cash flow and you're really wanting to get your store active, is to run a sale. I right now am running a 20% off sale store-wide, and you can pick and choose the things that you're wanting to put on sale. Sometimes if it's a certain thing that there's not very many of them available, when you're selling antiques and vintage, a lot of the times you'll have things that you are selling that there's only a couple more for sale, period. So you don't want to kind of play around with your price. You kind of want to let it sit and ride for a little while, and eventually someone will find that thing that they're looking for and they'll want to purchase that item. But you could run sales. You could run, you know, a 10% off sale, you know, a 20% off sale. Just do what you need to do to help you get your cash flow and some money in your pocket. That's just a suggestion. You don't have to do it. It's just something that I do from time to time. Another thing that I do is check my offers to watchers. I check my offers to watchers pretty much on a daily or an hourly basis sometimes. I do send out a lot of offers to watchers, and that does help get a sale that way too. Sometimes people are a little shy and they don't want to ask for an offer. They're watching your item. They may just be watching it just to see what it's going to sell for, but they may be actually and genuinely interested in your item. Then you can negotiate a little bit there. But make sure that you are pricing your item on eBay for a little bit of room for that negotiation. Being around vintage and antique sellers my entire life, negotiation is just part of the game, and it's just a given. So make sure that you do price your items to allow yourself a little bit of wiggle room for negotiations if you choose to offer them. So, I mean, it was a slower week for me, but I didn't list a lot either. And that is always the key, is to list. If you're surrounded by a death pile, get those babies listed, because people are still shopping. They're bored. They're looking for a bargain. So make sure that you are prepared to negotiate a little bit with the price. And, you know, just keep active, keep busy, keep your mind off of things, and eventually sales will pick up and we will be back into the swing of things like we have normally been. And I think that sales are going to pick up, especially after this is over, because people are wanting to buy some things that maybe they can't get because of the whole distribution system in the country is a little wonky right now. So they're going to turn to Instagram, and they're going to turn to eBay and Poshmark and Mercari and all those sites to get some things that they want a little more quickly than they can possibly go and get them from the store. So just keep chugging away and things will be back to normal in no time. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. I hope that this video helped you in some way, shape, or form. As always, if you have any questions, you can send me an email. My email is linked in the description below, and I will see you guys in the next video.